Thank you everyone for sharing. It's my turn, and mine is, at least for me, definitely unusual. I once found myself in a jail.
Whoa! Whoa! In a jail.
Of course, not as an inmate. I was visiting a jail. So we were a group of monks in 2008. As part of our training as a monk training, there was a 1 month travel that you're supposed to do. Uh, like 1 month of just moving with extremely minimal belongings. Like you don't have money, or you have a pair of dress and you have another pair to change, and like minimal possessions, like maybe like a water bottle or something like that. It was not a time of mobile phones at that time, so we didn't carry any mobiles or anything like that. It was just the yatra's theme is to actually experience minimal life. So we were moving around like that, and we were in the province of Punjab in India. It's in the northwestern India, and there was a place called Firozpur. It's in the border with Pakistan, India-Pakistan border. We were around that place, and in the borders usually there is, at evenings they close the border, in the mornings they open. So there's parades, and there is a lot of drama there during that time, in the morning and the evening when they close and things. So we had gone there with our kirtan and everything. Every evening, the whole day, our thing was we would do kirtan, distribute spiritual literature, and in the evening someone will invite us, host us for sharing spiritual wisdom with the whole village, and they'll cook for everyone. So it was a daily thing. For 30 days we were just going from village to village to village, just move on. Someone will come, we never know who's going to come in the next village. Someone will come and show, oh, you people are there, would you like to come stay here and then do this, like that. So every evening was a magic, because I've never experienced anything like that. And suddenly to just be on the road without anything or anyone, and having the faith that everything will be taken care, was very unique and special. And one of the people saw us in that border thing, and they invited, he was a police officer, so he invited us. We would like you to come and do a spiritual program. And he didn't explain clearly which place or anything. He just said, I want you to come and do a spiritual program. So the leader of our group thought, yeah, of course, like we will surely come. So, and then the next day, the vehicle came, and we were so surprised. We were looking at each other because it was a police jeep, like police van. Like usually all the convicts are like taken in that van. And so a vehicle came to pick us up, and we were all like surprised, 20 of us. Are you sure you want to get into this vehicle and go? Where are we going? Like, so then we started asking our guy, like, who's leading, like, where are we going? Like, why is there a policeman here for pickup? So, and of course, he had sent another officer, and he explained, no, we are going to a jail facility. We want you to actually do kirtan for all the inmates and do this talk. We were a little surprised because we wasn't expecting that. And then we got into the van and then went there. It's a central jail, so that means like there's a lot of prisoners. They say in a jail program there is always one thing guaranteed. You know what?
Everyone's innocent.
Huh?
Everyone claims they're innocent.
There is audience always. there, there's always a guaranteed audience. So when you throw a program like Soul Talk, when you have a program like Soul Talks, you don't know 15 will show up, 30 will show up, 40 will show up. But for sure, when you have a program at the jail, there is a sure audience, and everyone is supposed to come. When the main guy is organizing, you're supposed to be there.
Shibula Prabhu said it's a captive audience.
Yeah. So we were there, and there were quite a lot of people. I was in Hindi speaking. I was in a local actually, and so someone who spoke the local language among us, he gave the talk, and we were just doing kirtan. It was little different. I have never experienced anything like that. It's a different kind of intensity. But of course, when you're chanting and kirtan, and when you're like in that mood, like it was like uplifted and it was nice. And then he spoke for 30 minutes. And after that, we were asked, they asked if there are any questions, any queries from the inmates that they would like to ask. And that's when like we started noticing that they were young people. Like I was in my early 20s at that time, and here we saw like some of the people who are also of very similar age. So I was surprised, because you can watch news and you can even know, but I never experienced reality of that someone of my age will also be there, and why. So it was very surprising to me. And the query that one of the boys asked, it was in Hindi. um he asked something very similar to this topic, because this person had actually, out of anger, um, done something for which he was convicted. So then the question was like, when that moment of rage uh, was gone, like there is only, what do you call, the question like, why did I do that? Like, so just that pure curiosity, or like kind of an inquisitiveness, why did I even do that? So the question was naturally, what does it take to be good? So I know we went from like, the topic took a serious turn with my Jay story, uh, because it is a very kind of a pertinent question. What does it take to be good, actually? Because in life, not every one of us uh, lose our control to that extent. We may end up doing something like that, or end up. But there are so many people like us who have like ended up sometimes. It's not that they planned to be like that. It's just that one thing led to another thing, and they eventually ended up in a very dark space. So there is hope. Everyone can actually crawl out of it, and can make something better from wherever they are. However, the question is still very pertinent. It was 2008. It'll be like 20 years in 3 years. And still, I do sometimes think, oh, what does it really take it to be actually good? And in my own bhakti practice, in what I studied and what I have learned from my teachers, so I have few points that I would like to share with, and we will elaborate on that and discuss more. So the whole idea of what does it take to be good, we're not speaking about being perfect, we're not speaking about being religious, we're not speaking about becoming big, famous, or rich. So the good that we are actually speaking about is uh, something very closer to the original nature of the soul. In your own life, if you have to remember someone or an instance that somebody was good to you, what would come to your mind? Whatever they did that came across to you as good, kindness or compassion or tolerance. Someone was patient with us, someone was caring to us. So these are qualities that actually that we experience as good, because it is very closer to the nature of the soul. So that's what we are referring to, that how can we actually come closer to the original nature of the soul, which is what, when we come across, we feel very touched, we feel very uplifted, we feel very inspired, and we are very grateful for someone when they show that compassion or kindness or patience to us. So how can we be like that? Like what would it take for us to become good in that way? So it's a very three step, or like a 3 point uh, solution to a better life. It's very simple. It's desire and guidance and action. So these are the three topics we are going to, three like themes that we are going to explore. So why is it like, what does it take to be good? It is, first step is desire. And many a times, like we may feel immediately, I don't have a desire to grow. I'm just tired. I don't have time to think about these things. Because I don't even have a desire to be good. I'm being pulled in so many directions and I don't even know what is good. And I don't know if I can be that good. So I don't feel that desire to grow. Usually, if means a lot of us may have a desire, we may not act upon it usually. But sometimes we may not even want to be good despite knowing what is good. We're like, oh, that's too much. I'm not that person. I don't want to be like, I can be like that. However, desire usually grows from association. Whatever, like they say, like whatever is our company, based on that, we take upon those qualities. So desire actually grows by good association and also wisdom, hearing wisdom that really uplifts. A good mind is a mind which hears, listens to good things, because it's just the nature of the mind. Whatever we listen to, that's what we become actually. That's what we start contemplating, we thinking about, and we start aspiring for those things. How many of us watched a particular ad for a few days, ended up buying it? First time when you looked at that advertisement, you're like, nah, this is not for me. I don't like it. So you keep seeing it for like 10 times, 20 times, and then suddenly one day you feel like, maybe this probably sounds like useful. Let me go check it. And then you meditate on it for a few days, and then suddenly you have a shopping rage one day. You just like, oh, and then you just have it, and then you click buy and pay, and that's when your satisfaction. You don't even need to get it delivered. The moment you just click the pay button, sometimes you feel like, wow, like that fulfillment comes from shopping. So desires usually grow by continuous association. So then you naturally think, oh, okay, I want to change the direction of my life. So sometimes small pauses in life, small breaks, retreats, they call it, or good association usually is the best thing. And being around people who can lift us up, someone who lives with integrity, can be an inspiring example. You look at someone and you feel like, wow, they work out so regularly, they eat so healthy, I want to be like that. So then you may keep observing, and then eventually you may start also making that change when people live like that. So the desire for the highest good usually awakens by hearing from spiritually minded individuals. That this is the scripture called Bhagavatam. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, this is a particular verse. They speak about uh, one of that verses says that the desire for the highest good awakens by saintly association, spiritual association. And we see that in the life of Srila Prabhupada, who's the founder of the Hare Krishna movement. He was here in the late 1960s, and he started a whole spiritual movement from support or any money. Gradually, he lived here just a block away from this place, 26 Second Avenue. Eventually, he got that place. He lived among hippies and all kinds of people and inspired them gradually by cooking for them, by speaking to them, feeding them, even like cleaning the place after them. So he just like took care of them with his love and affection and his wisdom. He gradually inspired them to take to a better course of life. And once he was in India, and one of his disciples, after a long time, he had like he was back in India, and one of his students actually uh, presented him a particular watch. In those days, like today, like wearing watch, I'm looking around the room, a lot of people wear watch, but I think I have lost the habit after the mobile phones came. So now it's maybe people are wearing Apple watches, if not regular watches, but in general I think I see myself lost that habit of wearing a watch after I had mobile phones. Those days, because if you need to know time, you need a wristwatch, and he was gifted a wristwatch, and it was really kind of a little costly. His student really wanted to show his appreciation for his teacher, and there was a picture taken with him with that watch, and it was put on a magazine cover, and it's another jail story actually today. So this magazine actually ended up in, this is a spiritual magazine, so it was distributed in different places, and somehow it ended up in a correction facility in Bangalore, India. And this person, for some pickpocketing or something like that, he got caught, and he was put in that facility. And in the course of him going around browsing newspapers, he came across this spiritual magazine, and he looked at it, and he turned the back page, and there was a full page of, like, full picture of Srila Prabhupada with his watch very prominent, like he's holding this mic like this, so his watch was very prominent, and it was taken from this angle, so the watch was blurred, his face was in the focus, but the watch was there in the picture very prominently. And he looked at it, he said, old man having a gold watch, let me go and get it, steal it from this person after I get out of the jail. That's the first thought he got. And he noted down the address. He kept the magazine with him, and then he noted down the address. And in a week or two, he got released, and he thought, okay, let me go to Mumbai and find this gold watch, the man with the gold watch. So he came all the way to that address in Mumbai, found the temple, and he inquired. He showed the magazine and asked, is this Swamiji, is this old saintly person, is he here in this particular temple? They said, actually, he was here last week. He has just gone to another city for an engagement. He'll be back after 2 weeks. So if you just wait here, you'll be able to see him after two weeks. And he said, I've come from a long place. Would you actually stay in this temple for 2 weeks? They were naive, I would say. They were nice and also naive, to just, without any knowing who is this person, they just let him actually stay. And he was staying there. After a week, he could not take it, because they were waking up early in the morning, like 4 a.m. They were chanting, and they were like doing a lot of spiritual practices throughout the day. And it meant, see, he thought like staying in a temple means you could just be lazy, but it was like, it was not just free food and accommodation. He was like, there was work throughout the day. They were doing worship, they were cleaning, they were going out, distributing literatures. It was constant activity. He somehow tried, because the gold watch kept him there for a week. After a week, he said, no, get to hell with the gold watch. I cannot handle this. This is too much for me. I can't be this disciplined. And he said, I'm going. And the temple in charge, he said, don't worry, it's just another week that Swamiji will be here, that you could meet him. I said, no, I can't actually wait for another week. But he said, if you really want to go, you can go and meet him in the at the other temple in Hyderabad. He said, okay, let me go. And he took a train, he went there, and he took a letter from here, a recommendation to see Srila Prabhupada. So he took the letter, went to Hyderabad, he showed it to the people there, and they thought, oh, he has a recommendation letter from Mumbai. So they let him actually have a private audience with Srila Prabhupada. So he was very clear, I'm just going to do something to take the watch and go. But he just went in his presence, and he was just like completely like stunned. Just in his presence, he felt, what am I doing? Like, how in the world I was thinking like this, that I can steal a watch from a spiritual person. Like, here is a saintly person. He himself, nothing has happened. No, Prabhupada is not asking. He's just sitting there and looking at him. And then suddenly all these thoughts started coming to him, that how in the world how I can be like this? Like, why am I trying to steal this thing from this spiritual person? And he started crying. He had a complete meltdown. He just like fell, and then he begged forgiveness from Srila Prabhupada, saying, I'm so sorry, you're a spiritual person, and all I could think was trying to steal a watch from you, and that's why I came from all the way. He said, oh, all that you need is a watch. So he took the watch, and he said, you can have it. And he said, no, no, I don't want the watch. I don't want the watch. He was just crying and he was saying, no, I don't want the watch anymore. I just want to ask sincerely forgiveness from you for thinking like that, was wanting to rob you. I just wanted to ask forgiveness. And he wanted to leave. But Shri Prabhupada said, no, you just stay. It's okay. And he said, then he invited his assistant and he said, give him some food and inquired about him. Who is he? Where is he coming from? What does he do? And he said, don't worry, don't feel bad. And I really appreciate your honesty of sharing what you had in your heart. And he insisted that he takes the watch. He says, you keep the watch with you. I don't need it. I have so many other watches. You just keep it with you. And he said, but I have one request from you. And he said, Swamiji, you tell me, I'll surely do it, whatever you say. So he said, go back to Mumbai, to the temple, stay there, and stay there in the temple and continue to serve for some time. And actually, your thoughts will get better. You will become more spiritual. Just go there, and you have the watch, no problem. So just go there, stay in the temple, and do the spiritual practices with everyone, and I'll come and see you in a week's time. So he goes back to Mumbai. He doesn't tell anyone anything that he got any of the backstories. He just goes and says that Srila Prabhupada gave me a letter so that I can stay in this temple for a week, for until he comes. So he stays there and he continues to practice. Now he is able to push himself because he had the association of Prabhupada. His desire to be actually good was awakened in that association. So now he seriously was eager to actually apply himself to that spiritual practice. So now it was again waking up early and doing everything in the temple, but he had a complete consciousness shift. There was an attitude shift there. So from being like so disinterested, just spending and being in presence of Srila Prabhupada, he just thought, oh, I can be actually good. Because what Srila Prabhupada saw was, he saw the good in him and actually appreciated and said, you can actually be good. Gave him the hope that, don't worry, even if you're a thief, you could actually transform and you could be a good person. That's what you desire. Yes, you could be like that. So he had a little desire and a transformation because of that association, and Prabhupada gave him the facility, go and be in the company of like-minded spiritual seekers. So there was desire and there was guidance, and there was also a like-minded spiritual association. So he stayed there and he was just waiting for Prabhupada to come back. Prabhupada took a few more weeks to come, and once he came, he was very happy. By that time, in the couple of weeks, he had already changed a lot. And they had given him a particular task of buying flowers for the worship every day. So the temple person would give him money, would say, go buy flowers from the market and come back. And he loved chocolates. He really loved chocolates. And now he had money to buy the flowers. So what he would do, and one day he really wanted some chocolates. He's been controlling, oh, I should not do. But eventually he ended up buying 2 chocolates. He came and he came to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I have a chocolate for you. So he gave Srila Prabhupada, I got 2 chocolates from the money they gave me for the flowers. I bought the flowers, and the remaining change, I got 2. I wanted to share one with you. I didn't want to eat alone. So Prabhupada said, oh, do you like sweets? He said, yes, I really like sweets. I used to have sweets after every meal. And he said, oh, okay. And he asked for his assistant. He said, can you bring some dessert for him to eat now? It was very late in the night, so he couldn't find a dessert at that time. And he came and said, Prabhupada, I'm very sorry, there is no dessert in the temple. All the sweets were distributed to all the guests. We ran out of it. So he said, okay. He called him. He said, okay, let's go make some dessert. He took him to the kitchen. He personally made him what is called as a halwa. It's an Indian dessert. He made it for him, and he made an offering to the altar in the kitchen. And then he brought it, and he told him, okay, you eat this. Because you love sweets, you can have this. He said, whenever you want to eat sweets, get some date balls, or get some sweets from the temple and eat. You don't need to eat candies all the time. So he personally made and offered him. And this particular person, he just passed away last year. So this happened in the early 1970s, and he just passed away like less than 2 years before, and his name was Haridas. And he went on to become, because he was so touched by the kindness of Srila Prabhupada, he went on to actually become a very committed practitioner, and also he stayed there in the temple and took care of so many services on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. He established a whole media. In the 90s, media was not a thing. Like TV was a very new thing in India still. So he established spiritual discourses in mainstream media. He was recording senior practitioners giving talks on the Bhagavad Gita and various other spiritual subject matters, and he was producing them, really like producing to mainstream TV quality. And he went to various TV facilities and spoke to them and explained to them what is the necessity of spreading spiritual knowledge, especially they have such a mass communication device like TVs, which is there in every homes. He convinced them, and one of the very famous networks, they started actually every day doing these spiritual discourses in the morning, 30 minutes every morning, 30 minutes. So many people I've seen, I've heard from them, how did you get connected? They're like, I used to watch that spiritual series in the morning, in the early morning. So many people got to watch those talks on some Bhagavad Gita and other subject matters, and they were connected. And all that started because he had a desire to actually steal a watch. But because knowingly, unknowingly, he wanted to steal a watch from Srila Prabhupada, who was so spiritually potent, when he came in his presence, he completely got transformed. The quality of his desire changed. So we all have desires, but how are we going to make a change in the quality of the desire? So that usually happens by coming in touch with someone who is spiritually uh, uplifting. That they have that, by just being in their presence, you want to be a better person. So there is, it's the easiest way to actually develop a desire to become a better person. So find someone who can actually inspire you to be a better person. So that way, we all can actually, the desire in our own hearts can be awakened by saintly association. Yeah.
But wouldn't you say that's true for like bad people? Like when you're around bad people, you want to become like them too.
Yeah, it is a universal principle. That's why I'm saying choose right association, because the quality of your association is going to affect you. So if you want good spiritual desires, then you associate with spiritual minded people. Make sense? Yeah, it's a universal principle, as you're saying. Anyone else? Yeah.
Interesting how a lot of times the thing that you meditate on for a long time that you want to desire, like apart from meeting like a saintly person, like when you get close to it or when you're about to have it, you're like the taste changes. It's like, oh wow, I wanted to grow up and be this amazing architect or whatever. And then you associate with like some architects and you see what they do and you're like, oh, you're closer to the world. All of a sudden the taste is like, actually,
You have grown beyond it.
yeah, I like something else. Like, why is that?
Because we have multiple desires and inclinations. So at a particular point in life, it may feel like that's the identity. However, that may not be your original identity. It may be borrowed. It may be you saw someone who is respected, who was an architect. So maybe I wanted respect. So I thought, okay, if I become an architect, I'll also be respected. So to go into what is our need really. In lives, a lot of times we end up doing so many things because we think you want love, okay, become successful. But once you become successful, everyone hates you, envies you, and then you realize, no, I worked so hard to become successful so that people will love me. But eventually, that too much success only attracts envy and competition and so many other things. So most of the times, we really don't know deep inside what do we desire, what is the desire. It gets deflected through the ego as I want to be an architect. Maybe it was respect, it was money, it was influence, something very deeply. So like John Lennon was, when he was a small kid, his teacher asked in his class, all the kids, like, what would you like to become when you grow up? And all the children explained the same way. I want to be an architect, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be, many kids say astronauts. I'm so like, okay, do you know even what it takes to be an astronaut? But it's nice. It's because it's very glorified. You see in the TV, it sounds like cool, and you're floating in the space like that. I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a pilot, and so many things. And when it came to John Lennon's turn, he said, I want to be happy. And the teacher said, you didn't understand the question. And it seems like, as a 6-year-old, he told to the teacher, you didn't understand life. You don't understand life. So, yeah.
Because you made me think about astronauts. There's a fellow, an astronaut, current astronaut, who had devoted his whole life, his whole career towards getting to the goal of being able to go into space, be an astronaut. And then like the reporter asked him, so like, do you like being in space? And he laughed, but he's like, no, I don't. So he got to the place where he put his whole life into being, and then it's like, no, I don't actually enjoy being there. Like the floating
True.
around and all the other.
Yeah, so the deep desire, the hankerings and the desires of the soul is very different from the what do you call? We always say, I always say, we have two kinds of desires. We have louder desires and deeper desires. So most of the time, life, like, we tend to give attention to the loudest desires in our hearts, things that attract our attention. But there are some deepest desires that we have. We have desire for connection, we have desire for fulfillment, we have desire for contribution, we have desire for some of these. We kind of first, let me get this thing first, let me get an iPhone, let me get this, let me get that. So these loudest desires are being amplified all around us by the world. So then we run towards that. Eslama, you want to share something?
I was just going to say, I almost feel the question isn't what does it take to be good, because we're inherently good.
Yes.
I feel like, what does it take to not be pulled away from that by the outside world?
Yeah.
So in the story you were telling with the watch, it's not that he had an intention, a desire to be good. He found someone who saw the good in him, and that's what brought it out. Or
Yeah.
he found someone that was good, that it kind of woke him up.
Okay.
So I don't know, for me it's, the question is a little different. What does it take not to be influenced?
So it's a different facets of the same question. I would say we all approach from a different angle. I would say, means I also had to give something which is like kind of universal and relatable as a title. But the idea is that, like, we all, originally the soul is pure, but it is currently covered by so many desires and so many, usually it is through its ego and so many other things. There's so many things, it's clouding the soul. So we have lost touch with what do we actually need, who we are really, what is our deeper desires. So that's the whole thing about what it takes to be good, what it takes to be actually in touch with those deeper desires instead of the louder desires. What it takes to be good, because when you're in touch with the deeper desires, like wanting to be to be able to contribute, to be able to connect with, to be compassionate, to be loving, to give and receive love, these kind of things are very deeper, and usually on that level people become good naturally. So usually it's one thing is desire, but it also takes guidance. Guidance is not about desire without direction, becomes like sometimes like confusion. So we may have some direction, but it is usually good to have some expert advice in all areas, including spiritual life. And of course we have to be careful. We can say, how do I know what guidance is right? There's so much guidance around, so many kind of people and paths. So use your like intelligence and introspect and inquire, ask questions, and ultimately you if you just keep thinking, Nothing happens just by, like, at some point you have to actually take an action. So the next step is action. Okay, take some little guidance, as long as it is a reasonable risk. Take the action and see. So in bhakti also the same thing. So in bhakti, develop the right desire. The desire is to actually evoke the original connection. Yoga means establishing the connection of the soul with the divine. So yoga is a process of developing that connection, reconnecting or reawakening that connection. So here bhakti yoga means through the process of devotion, we are trying to reawaken that connection of the soul with the divine. So that desire actually gets awakened when you are in like-minded spiritual association and with right guidance and kind of right actions when you actually take up to simple daily practices. You hear about spiritual wisdom regularly. Like we have these daily podcast, Wisdom of the Sages. So many people I have come across that they listen to it daily as a thing. Every day they've been hearing it for some time, and suddenly they realize, this makes sense. And suddenly there is an eagerness to actually take up to the practice daily, or because initially we may not have the commitment to actually do the practices, but keep hearing regularly that what you're doing is already nice, that you're trying to come to a place like Soul Talks regularly, come to various other offerings at the Bhakti Center regularly. So what you're doing is you're actually exposing yourself to something spiritual. The more you actually allow yourself to be exposed and affected by it, the good you will see the difference in your interest. And the more you hear, the more you just don't hear, but if you also personally practice, like if you actually chant, if you actually meditate, take some time, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if you actually meditate, it clears the inner world. So here, because the mind needs wisdom, without wisdom the mind gets very convoluted and confused. It needs clarity. Mind is something that it's like a lens, it needs to be clearly zoomed in, otherwise it just becomes too much to handle. So the mind needs wisdom, and it needs meditation in order to actually cleanse it regularly. And with that particular desire and practice, do something, offer some action, engage in something to actually reciprocate that way, and serve others, keep spiritual company. And in this way, a small act done sincerely can bring great spiritual progress. Even a very small act, it can be very little, but if it is done with a super sincere spiritual intention, it can actually pick you up and grow. So if we just remain in the realm of just doubting things, then you'll never actually break through that in the spiritual journey. You have to plunge and take some action. That's what will actually bring you to the next level. I'll end with these things, this last point, that people usually change in two ways. Any guess? There is a transformation in people's life by two ways.
Hitting a rock bottom.
Hitting a rock bottom.
Yeah, death, like facing death.
Mm-hmm.
Some outer circumstance.
Circumstances. Then
Choice or tragedy, those are the two ways.
choice or tragedy. Very lucidly put.
A breakup.
So either it is personal inspiration or inspiration from other people. Basically, it's either through inspiration, or as Lama put it, either through choice, or you can call it inspiration, or through frustration or tragedy, or hitting a rock bottom, or a breakup, or disease, so many things. There is no guarantee that any of these things will actually create a transformation, but likely, very highly likely. So usually in this world, a spiritual journey is taken, or people become good, or people actually upgrade their lives. We all upgrade our phones, we all upgrade our operating systems in our laptops. So constantly we are upgrading. So people usually upgrade their lives either through personal inspiration or a borrowed inspiration by looking at another person. Wow, he's so fit, he goes to gym regularly. Oh, I want to be actually fit, something like that. So it's just looking at someone, or like something coming from heart, hearing something regularly, that inspiration. Or life can be transformed through frustration. What do you think is a better way? Transforming life through inspiration is surely a better way. That's why if we keep hearing about it regularly, we keep hearing about it regularly, then one day it may just, there can be a breakthrough. So hear enough that you will cross that threshold to actually take action. Hear and have guidance to that extent that you can break through that threshold and come to a space where I want to do it finally. So that is how you actually, that's what it takes to be good. It's not luck. It's not the charisma with which one is born. It's not the personality type. I'm an introvert. I'm an Enneagram 6. It's not that alone. It is not that. It's not the birth, what kind of family, what kind of wealth we're going to. It is not all these things that makes one. What does it take to be good? It's not surely luck. It is actually desire to change. If we have the determination to change, a spark, even if it is a small little spark, like keep kindling it, feeding it, fan the spark. By doing that, and how can you fan the spark? Put the spark in the right environment. Don't put it out on a cold winter day. It'll go away. Put it next to the bonfire, then it'll keep growing. So take the right guidance and take the steady action, even if it is small steps. So it's not very complicated. It's, do you have a desire to grow? And that desire, if you say, no, I don't, then listen to spiritual wisdom, which can inspire you to grow. It'll gradually instill the desire in your heart, and take the right guidance and take some action based on the guidance. So without one of these steps, it won't work. If you have a lot of desire and you also take some guidance, but if you're not acting upon it, then it might not make a big difference in your life. So with these 3 steps, you can actually shape your life. So thank you, Alan. We can wind up with your question. Yeah.
Oh, I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
Guidance. Do you think you can guide back on your own? Do you need external guidance? Do you think you'd be?
Don't hold it against me. It's an old Chinese proverb. One who has a disciple, one who has oneself as a disciple, has a fool as a master. It's a Chinese proverb.
What does that mean?
Who has oneself as a disciple, one who has himself as a disciple, that means I'm my own guru, I'm my own guide, has a fool as a guide.
Has a fool?
As a guide.
Oh, okay.
So usually it's not that we cannot, it's not that spiritual life, the knowledge cannot be revealed inside. It's not like that. It is there, but usually it's the very principle that I don't need a guru. If it is coming from a place of ego, that is actually antithetic to spiritual evolution. Humility is the place in which spiritual knowledge blossoms. So if a person has an ego, I don't need to listen from anyone, I know everything, that place, from that place, spiritual wisdom would be very hard to come by. Of course, you listen from others, ultimately you have to distill it in your own heart and it grows for sure. So we have intelligence. Listening from another person does not mean we are not intelligent or we don't have the wisdom, but that kind of a rekindling and confirmation could be helpful, is more healthy. It happens for most other things also. Anything in life in general, you want to be a data analyst, then you go to school, you get to a university which has accreditation, you go to teachers who had graduated from proper school, and then you follow their curriculum. You don't say, I set my curriculum. No, they give you a curriculum, you read that, you follow that, you pass the exams, then they tell you, oh, now you're a data analyst. So it's not that exactly like for spiritual life. It's more of an internal calling and cultivation. But still, it's always good to have guidance. The ego, basically, the principle is from a very, if a person is very egoistic, then spiritual wisdom would be very hard to take root in that hard rock.
And then you said change is strategy, and
Choice.
inspiration.
Yes. Choice or tragedy is copyrighted by Lama. She said that.
To quote me on that.
You said the better choice is inspiration. Do you think like a person needs to experience both tragedy,
Tragedy?
and inspiration?
Not necessary.
It's better
But
though, no?
that's how the world is usually, but it's not necessary. I don't need to fall sick and then and I get diabetes and decide, oh, I don't want to eat sweets. If I was very cautious from the beginning, I could have postponed it at least. Even if it is hereditary, it would not have hit me in my 30s, it would have come in my 50s or 60s. I could postpone it. I could reduce the. You understand what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's, of course, I don't want to give another talk. There is 3 kinds of intelligence, they say. The first class intelligence, you hear and you get inspiration and you do it. And the second class intelligence, you see and then you learn and do it. The third class is like you see, you hear, but it does not affect. And only when you experience, you realize, oh, it was true. What I saw and what I heard is true because now I'm experiencing it. Now, then you scramble to actually change the direction of your life. Nothing. It's never. It's better late than never, but still. But most 99.999% of people seem to be taking inspiration from frustration. Yeah.
When you ask like what things change people, like
Mhm.
things like tragedy,
Mhm.
I was thinking love,
Mm-hmm.
and then earlier, there's like many times during your talk, I was thinking about recently upstate in Catskill, there's the gym that Mike Tyson trained in, and it was gonna close, but they decided to keep it open, so they had a celebration, and he was there. And I remember watching him, growing up, but I didn't really follow like what became of his life or know anything about him, but he shared like how many times he was arrested before he was even 14. Grew up in New York. He was arrested 34 times, and he said if he didn't meet someone when he was 14 who saw in him a skill, that he probably would have killed someone or done something terrible would happen.
Mm-hmm.
But his inspiration, this guy, was his coach. He
Mhm.
became his coach, and he taught him how to like how to like get into other worlds, like to the focus become that strong. But he said the greatest thing, and he was crying, was that he never felt loved before. Like he's like, can you imagine that? Like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was crying.
It's-
I do know a little bit about that story.
Yeah.
Like he was bullied a lot, and then he decided to, because he was in bad association, decided to become the bully.
Mm.
And then it wasn't until he met this person who
Saw the good in him and encouraged him and gave a positive direction for
Similar
an
to
outlet.
yours.
Yeah, positive.
Unfortunately, the person died like just after he, 5 years into it, and then he became the greatest
Big
fighter. But he warned him like boxing is full of, and he got so taken advantage of even by his new coach, lost everything. So just hearing him like explain how he had to go through it again, and it was very moving.
Yeah. So we all need that inspiration. We all need that guidance from someone who can actually see the good in us and uplift us and make us feel like, oh, I can become actually better. And experiencing love is a powerful emotion, especially when it is very selfless. It is really a powerful emotion, and it is the best inspiration in the world. So thank you for sharing that, Heather. Thank you, everyone. Is any thank you. See you all soon.